everybody? K.A. Williams here. We're on another episode of Fruition. Listen, and we're continuing Write It. Remember, we're on the second step of the basics on how to make things happen. And the second step is writing things down. Write it. All right. The name of this episode is The Power of Written Plans. All right. Power of Written Plans. Listen, in the first episode of Write It, I told you guys how important it was to write things down. All right. In the second episode of Write It, I told you guys how successful people write things down and how they write things down and why they write things down. All right. If you need to go back and watch, episode 9 and episode 10 of Fruition, then go back and watch them. They're on the two ones that I just talked about as far as writing it and successful people writing things down. All right. So the power of written plans. Listen, remember, you guys, I do these videos because as I fulfill my life's purpose, I want to empower you to be able to do the same thing. All right. And then in turn, I want you to go out and empower more people. All right. So it's all about empowerment, because once we empower each other, we can achieve great things. All right. So listen, we're going to start with a study that was done by a great university. All right. This university did a study on 3 types of people. All right. 3 types of students. OK, now watch this. The first set of people, right, had no goals, had no written goals. All right. So think about this. 84% out of the people that they did this study on, 84%, that's huge, you guys, had no written goals and had no goals. All right. So that's 84%. The second set of people, right, 13% of them had goals, but they didn't write them down. All right. Watch this. 13% of them had goals, but they were not written down. OK, that's the second set of people. All right. The last set of people, the third set of people. Listen to this, you guys. 3% of them had goals and they wrote them down. Only 3% out of the total people. We got 84% with no goals, no written goals. We got 13% with goals that were not written. All right. And we got 3% with written goals. All right. Only 3% had written goals. Well, guess what? 10 years later, they brought back the same people. All right. They brought back the same people that they did this study on. And guess what? 10 years later, the group, remember the 13% I told you about that had goals but were not written down. These are the people that had goals, but they didn't write them down. They made twice as much income as the people who had no goals. They made twice as much income as the 84% who had no goals, who had nothing written down. Now watch this. The 3%, remember I told you there was 3% that had goals that wrote them down. Well, guess what? The 3% made 10 times more income than the ones who had no goals and who did not write it down. So I'll repeat it. The 13% who had goals but that didn't write it down had twice as much income as the people who had no goals. All right. But the 3% that had goals and wrote them down, they had 10 times the income. Are you hearing me? 10 times the income. Listen to me, guys. You got to write things down. That's how important it is to write your goals and your dreams and your aspirations down. You have to write them down, you guys. Because when you have a plan and you write it down and you follow it, you put it in action, guess what? You are that much more likely to get it done than the person who doesn't write anything down. 10 times more likely to get it done than the person who doesn't write it down. That's what that survey tells me. That's what that study tells me. You're 10 times more likely. Don't you need 10 times more likeliness in your life of getting things done, of reaching your goals and reaching your aspirations? And listen, guys, this is not just about money. This works with money, but it works with every part of your life. Imagine if you wrote down your career goals. Imagine if you wrote down your family goals. Imagine if you wrote down your spiritual goals. All right. And 10 years from now, you're going to be 10 times more likely to get them done than if you don't write them down. All right. This works in any area of your life. OK, athletics. If you're an athlete. All right. It works on the job. If you're starting a business. OK, it works. It works with anything, guys. If you need a chart, if you need a plan, whatever, write it down, you guys. Have something that you can look to, You can put it on the wall, something on your calendar. All right. Now watch this. I'm going to leave you with something else. SMART goals. All right. This is an acronym for SMART goals. All right. So think about this. The S is for specific. Your goals have to be specific. All right. That's what the S is for, specific. All right. The M in SMART is for measurable. You have to be able to measure. You have to be able to measure your progress. You have to be able to measure where you're going to be, how it's going to help you, if it's of value or if it's economical or not. So your goals have to be measurable. All right, that's the M. The A in SMART is for actions, meaning the plan, what you actually do. What do you have to do to make this happen? What do you have to do physically? All right, the actions. All right. The R in SMART is for realistic. Now, I'm a little funny about this one, you guys. I'm a little funny about the R in SMART for SMART goals, the realistic one. The R, realistic. Listen, you want your goals realistic, but I would rather you guys shoot for something more than to undershoot something. All right, that's just the way I am. So, listen. Yes, you want your goals to be realistic, but if you have a plan, if you have a time limit, which is the T that we're getting to in SMART, all right, then listen, anything is possible. Anything is possible, you guys. Anything is possible. Pretend that there are no limits, you guys. So, all right, so that's how I feel about the R in realistic. All right, now the T we already talked about, and we're probably going to talk about it again in another episode. Timely. I told you guys before that when you put a time limit on a goal, on a dream, on an aspiration, then guess what? It makes it more real to you, first of all. But the second thing it does is it holds you accountable. When you put a time limit on it, when you put a date on which you want to have this accomplished, it makes it more attainable, and it holds you responsible. Time holds us responsible. All right. So I gave you two things, you guys. I gave you the study from the university about how important it is to write things down and how those who had written goals were 10 times more likely to get them done. And I gave you the acronyms for SMART goals. S is for specific things in your goals. M is for measurable, be able to measure your goals. A is for the actions you need to do to take place physically. R is for realistic, but remember, anything is possible. All right. And T is for timely. Put a date, put a time on it. All right. I hope this has been a blessing to you guys. Grace and peace to you.